to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Appreciate you joining me as always. And I appreciate you for joining our panel of fans who come on with us weekly. If you too would like to be part of this show, it's very simple. All you have to do is email me at thelakeLewisJrShow@gmail.com. Once again, thelakeLewisJrShow@gmail.com, and we will get you on here. The list grows, and we've got, some familiar faces in here that's family. We've got some new folks in here. And this is what we want to do. We want to make this a welcoming site, welcoming place for everyone to join us. If you want to talk Washington Commanders, or if you want to just talk NFL by and large, this is the place to be on Friday. So what's up, everybody?
What's happening?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Lee.
Good
What's
stuff.
up, everybody?
We're getting close. We've got about maybe a little over 4 weeks before, everyone reports, and I report out there as well for training camp, and I'm looking forward to it. And this year for me, folks, it's just it's a level of excitement that I've never experienced. Last year, I was excited just from the standpoint that Jaden Daniels was taken. It was a new ownership group, new coaching regime. A friend of mine from college, Bobby Ingram, the wide receiver coach. That's my guy. So it was exciting in that regard, but little did I expect for them to make the run they did. I did say they could win 11 football games, but I didn't think they were getting to the NFC Championship game. I'm not going to even sit here and lie about that. This year, however, I expect this team to really challenge the Eagles for a Super Bowl. I truly feel like that. So I want to get your take real quick on just your excitement level as this thing's getting closer to training camp. Is it getting ramped up for you? Or are you kind of just going to stay even kill until they actually get in some pads and start hitting? So let's start at the top of the screen. I have Brandon up there. What do you think, Brandon?
I mean, yeah, I'm trying to keep the energy and the excitement calm, but I'm just excited to see. I know they're going to do the deal with Terry. They'll get that done.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see Terry out there with Debo, mix him with JD5 and the rest of the group. I just want to see these guys just, Dan Quinn creates the culture that's amazing, and everybody's excited to be there. I just want to see that gel and grow. That's really what I'm excited for.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And just real quick, you did, kind of give me a chance to have another shameless plug of something that I'm doing. But I did just write an article for Heavy Sports. So you can go to heavy.com, or you can go on my social media and you'll see it. But it is talking about the culture, and it's talking about the brotherhood and how it's a real thing in year two. It's not just a word they throw around. It's a real thing. And if you don't fit that brotherhood in Washington, no matter how good you are as a player, you won't. If you don't fit in the locker room, you will not be part of this, which is something that's exciting in itself. So let's get to Commander Kel. What's going on, Kelvin?
I'm doing well. As always, this community is growing. To answer your question, hey man, I'm excited now. These times in the off season is super important. It's like preparation, and I love the prep work. It's a lot of news going on actually, and I'm happy to be here. When the season starts, it's gonna be a whole nother level, a different dynamic type of excitement. So I'm happy.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Dave Fernandez, what's going on, my guy? He's been on here now for, I think it's your third appearance. So what's up?
Yes, sir. Like always, thank you for having me, and blessed to be here with you guys. I'm excited, man. Let me tell you, out of those 20-something years that back then I used to rev myself up every day, every year, and the season came along and it was just a big disappointment. So I was at a point where, like, I'm not even going to get excited no more. But after last year and everything, and seeing what we got with JD, Dan Quinn, and all the guys and everything, it's like a different feeling. And I'm like so excited. There's like a couple things that are coming up in the media, like with Cafferty getting with his brother and Bijan, and what really intriguing me is how they're going to use Luvu, of the new way that they're going to use Luvu, and I think that's going to be awesome. I just can't wait. I'm just like, I'm trying to hold myself under control, but I just want to explode.
Good stuff, man. I mean, and I share those sentiments. As media, I'm excited, man. Finally be able to cover a winner, a sustained winner. That's what we're looking for. So, Ellison, what's going on, my friend?
What's good, man? How are you? How everybody? Good
Appreciate
to see everybody. I'm excited. I think I'll probably be a little bit more excited as, it's time for guys to start reporting, rookies and the vets. So I'm excited. I'm sort of tempering my expectations right now. But once it gets a little bit closer to start of training camp, I know that those things will be a little heightened up. So I'm excited though. Looking forward to the season.
All right, good stuff. And then we got Greg Dashel on. What's going on, Greg?
Hey, what's up, Blake? How you doing, man?
I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. I missed it last week because I was traveling up that way, so I couldn't get on from the car because it was gonna be spotty, so I didn't even jump on. But thank you for having me anyway, right?
No worries.
Man, I'm super excited, bro. I'm already looking at flights, trying to make sure I'm coordinating the flight for me to get there. I always go to 2 away games, and I wanted to go to that Spain game, but I just, like I told y'all the last couple weeks ago, I just purchased this house here in Locust Grove, so that kind of like
I mean, that takes precedent. I get
it. Yeah. I had to pinch me some pennies. You know what I mean? So I ain't be able to make that one, but I'm thinking I'm gonna go to Cali and
Spain, maybe.
Nah, I wanted to go to Spain, but yeah, that's just a little bit too big, just a tad bit out of my pocket. I tried to talk my wife into let me go, right? But she said, "You're not going without me." So that's.
Look, man, you got your wife that house. She's good.
Absolutely. I feel you, bro. I feel you. I wish I could tell her you said that, bro. But yeah. So. She gonna say, "Go stay with Lake," then, huh? You know what I mean?
And then Mana here gonna say that's not gonna happen.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. So you got me. So yeah, man. But I'm super excited for the team, man. I think, like I told y'all, 13 wins. I can see it. Barring any serious injuries, right? Because number 5 is just that special. I think he can. I'm like y'all. Don't want him to put the Superman cape on, for real. I hope the line holds up like they should, and especially if Cosme come back like in October-ish, November at the latest. Yeah, we're gonna make a nice run, I believe. So I'm excited, bro.
Okay, good stuff. And then we got Jay on. What's going on, Jay? Haven't seen you in a week or two. How you been, man?
I'm good. I was just telling Sheila and Greg that I was just up at the stadium at the Kendrick Lamar show last week. My anniversary.
Nice.
So I just been taking
Congrats
a little break.
on that. Okay, that's well deserved.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited. I don't want to get be too excited. Because this is a dead period. Nothing's really happening. All this speculation. I would be even more excited if whenever we sign Terry.
Oh, that's coming. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. But I don't like when I see, log on to social media and I'm seeing trades, trade proposals to Pittsburgh and stuff like that. I'm like, nah, I don't want to see none of that, But
y'all know where to come to get the real scoop.
Hey, you know what's crazy about you know what's crazy about that though? Like DC, like you in the media, DC, right? So we depend on, as a fan, depend on y'all say a lot, right? But it's certain entities, man. I just don't, I'm just gonna leave it like that. But I just don't understand, like, why is that a publicized question? Would you take T.J. Watt for Terry McLaurin? Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's
Are you crazy?
It's because it's listen, I can honestly say this. I've even from a couple of the outlets that I'm with, and 2 big ones that I'm getting ready to be with. They proposed those kind of things, and I'm just like, no, I made sure it's in my contract that I'm not that guy. My thing is,
man.
I can flat out say it. If I want to know something so bad, I'll call the player themselves or call the coaches and just find out that way. And that's why I've always said you can't believe everything you see and read. And, it's a lot of people out there that unfortunately, in our profession is clickbait oriented,
Oh, my goodness, bro.
And then there's the ones, and there's a lot of us in this media in town that I will say try to do it the right way. I will say that. There are some that no, they don't. But I think you guys can piece those pieces, those faces together, who does what.
100%.
And so yeah, every day when I wake up and I see that stuff too, I'm just like, I always wonder what you guys as fans think. Like, do they really think this is like picking up some
pisses me off?
Because it's not.
Hey, but this is what I'm saying. Like you like coming from your platform where the fan itself depend on y'all really the only ones that really get the news, right? Like, really get to be able to tell us what's really happening, what's really going on. Now we know who's real, who's not. Trust me.
Right.
But
Appreciate that.
It's just sad to see people that been in the industry forever, and they can't get over the
previous stuff, or
right that, or it uses that, man. It's it's
deception.
just. It was a post the other day that was so crazy. I would rather have Dan Snyder and the old name than. And this came from a fan, though. You know what I mean? This was a questioning from a media entity that we all listen to. Some of us, I don't listen to them no more because I don't waste my time.
You'd be surprised how many fans have actually asked me, how come I don't push for the name to come back? I'm like, first of all, I'm not employed by the Commanders. I cover them. I'm there every day. I have access, but they don't write my checks. But they do write checks for the other woman that sit in this house with me too. So, I keep everything. You got to keep things kosher, as my parents used to say. But with that said, there's real stories out there that need to be told, about players, things that they're doing, good things that they're doing, good things that the organization's doing. And that's the kind of stuff that I feel like is a good friend of mine, and I'm sure she won't mind me saying this, Candy Waller. She's done a really good job covering this team.
Yeah, I like her.
And
too.
Yeah, and Candy is she'll always say I'm like her big brother, mentor. But she's really worked hard at her craft. Well, one of the things that we always, kind of joked about was there was so much negative media pub for this team over the years, and rightfully so. Some of it was warranted, but a lot of it wasn't. We said that now that things have changed and it's all positive, and if the worst thing you can get is Terry McLaurin not having his contract right now, that tells you the direction that they're going in. That some people don't have anything to say because they don't have any, some people can't say anything positive. So they're kind of in a rut right now because they can't find stories to put out for people to click on. So that's what I'm saying, So I try to spend more time right now speaking positives, and everyone should be excited for this season that's coming up. Exactly. Everyone should be excited because you finally have a franchise quarterback. I mean, a legit quarterback that changes the fortunes of a franchise. And Washington has their own toy now. And then they had a really good draft. I've seen these young guys out there. They look like they're not going to be guys that, are they going to make the roster? Are they going to be practice squad guys? No, these guys are going to be playing on Sundays for this team. Those are the stories that I want to talk about and cover. So without straying, because we do have other people that need to answer that question. So let's get right there. I see Dwayne is in here now. What's going on, my friend? How you been, man?
What's going on, y'all? Been good. Can't get rid of me that easy, so I'm back.
Nah, we're not trying to get you out of here.
This my nah, man. This my I used to say therapy when stuff was going real bad. You know what I'm saying? But so this is my hangout now. But glad to be back. What's going on, everybody?
Yeah, so we we had asked a question before you came in, just as far as your excitement with training camp approaching in the next 4 weeks. Like, do you feel like you're more excited now than you've ever been, or are you just trying to stay tempered, even tempered until it gets here?
You know what's crazy, like, and I'm sure everybody else can speak to this. You dealing with that leftover PTSD, man. Like, you want to be real excited, but I think the last piece of that is doing it another year.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's the last little bit, getting rid of that. But I'm excited. I haven't usually been able to get out to camp.
Right.
But I'm gonna try to get out there this year. Take the kids out. Take the wife out there. She's born in a Ravens family, so I'm trying to. She's slowly coming on. I had her put the McLaurin jersey on last year, so we slowly getting her on. She let me. Today is our wedding anniversary, so she even.
Oh, congrats, brother!
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary. That's what's up.
She even let me come on the pod today. Even
Y'all
with
know,
that
y'all notice, y'all
difference.
notice he said let.
Yeah, so
Hey, I understand.
so
Trust
yeah,
me.
I'm excited though. I'm excited though. Like
All
I'm just
right.
excited to see what this becomes
Good
this
stuff.
year.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So now we have more people that have come in since we've joined. So we got Mike in there. What's up, Mike Barrett? What's going on?
What's happening, brother? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you as well.
Um, Look, 3 weeks, the rookies come in. So, so it's
It's a
you know, I'm sorry. What did the first lady say? I missed that.
you got it down to a science.
Yeah, 3 weeks, man. I mean, because when you're excited, you're marking it, and I'm not. The only thing I don't want to hear about is somebody got hurt, right? So, because they're still working out, doing their things, and as long as I don't hear that, then I'm waiting for the rookies to come in July 18th, man.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's good stuff. And you know, again, it's here and it's coming. I mean, I'm looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to being standing in that heat all day every day, but I'm looking forward to. I'm just looking forward to see the competitions because there's going to be loaded competitions at each position. Finally, you know, so that's something I'm excited about. All right, so I think we have a new joiner in here. CVRC up there. I see on the screen. What's going on, man? How you been?
Yes, sir. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Welcome to the club, man.
Appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, as far as your excitement, are
Yeah,
you super excited?
I'm excited, but I'm trying to keep it under wraps because, when's the last time we had 2 consecutive good years? Trying to keep it mild, but at the same time, it's like a duck going across the water, looking smooth, but underneath, I'm crazy. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Hey, look, every now and then I do borrow some of the liners that I hear on here, just so you guys know. So yeah, I might borrow that one too because yeah, everyone's trying to keep an even kill on the surface, but your hearts are fluttering for sure. And then like this morning, I woke up and I had to cover. Oops, I almost slipped up and said something. Well, I saw something on one of the networks, and they were discussing, the NFC East and who can win it. And almost to a man, they said Washington. Like they really think it's Washington's year. It's a thing. It's not just you guys as fans. It's not just me as media covers the team. It's nationwide, and people are expecting things, and it all starts with number 5. So, all right. So, who else do we have in here? I have a couple more folks we got to get to. We got Oscar on there. What's going on, Oscar, over in Turkey right now?
Good to see you again, Lake. Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. As much as try to stay calm and temper, I can't wait for week 1, Lake. I mean, what an excitement! What you said was super important. That's what I thought. Like if you don't belong to that family college team mentality, you don't belong here. You don't belong to this roster, which is the new regime's success, I guess. And I think JD5 is not going to have that sophomore slump, which I was saying last week. And I think 2 weeks ago, Shayla was saying that it's amazing that the veterans, the way they embrace the new players and everything, that family mood. So I'm super excited.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Reverend Fry, what's going on, man?
Peace and blessings be upon you, Lake, and all of
Appreciate
the
you.
Commander Nation. Had to put my pup down.
Okay.
he thinks he's human, so we let him think it.
And by the way, I did see some of your sermon on Facebook the other day. You were clean, man, and very well said, and that was needed for sure.
Thank you. And that's the playing is over with. It's almost like with this. I'm enjoying this for everything that it is. I'm sorry for those of you that didn't get a chance to experience the actual glory years when we were making our when we were making our runs for the Lombardi, but I feel that we've taken our place back. I have that expected. This is what I've come to or always expected, knew what we had in us. My and as young wisdom Jay would have kicked it off. I'm frustrated with all the clickbait. That's what I try to follow being out here in California when when something pops up, but you can't screen it almost until you see it
Until you
or
start
listen,
reading it. Yeah.
listen to the content, and then you like, we're not, no way are we trading Terry, but it's like, and like someone else, I think it was Willis or Greg that was saying, we're talking like reputable people that are now, I don't have anything else to report. So, their hypotheticals are like ignorant, for lack of better words. It's like that's not even a possibility. Why even get that conversation going? So, Mike, thank you, sir. 3 weeks. I think I can, hold on to where, something is coming out. But, I'm tired of being out here. I'm tired of the clickbait, or even the YouTubers or the content so-called creators that are just throwing, the same thing over and over, and just to have a show. It's
Yeah.
like,
I
let the starter pistol kick, and let's get this thing going.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Willis, out in Arizona, what's going on, my friend?
I'm glad I'm indoors right now. Feels good.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. I'm definitely more excited this off season than I have been in quite some time. And I'm a perpetual optimist every year. I'm excited, but this one is truly for real. I mean, after last season, like you said, Lake, I mean, I was excited at the beginning of that season because you just didn't know what to expect, but it felt like there was something different in the air. Now we know that the air is different, and we're at the time of season right now where we got all the National Enquirer type stories, and luckily we have our shit together, sorry for the language, but I mean, the only thing people have to talk about is the Terry contract situation, which really isn't a deal. We all know that, and so there's nothing really controversial. And we still got JDTV going on. I mean, every single commenter wants to talk about or with Jaden Daniels, and so I mean, we have all this optimistic stuff that is actually out there overriding the National Enquirer stuff, and so it's kept this offseason rolling really nicely. It's kept me really excited for what's coming. And I don't know, I'm just 3 weeks, that like gives me goosebumps. I'm like, that's so close. Like, I can't wait.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. And then finally, we have the only female that graces us all the time, does a great job. And I'm not trying to make you stand out, Sheila, because you're a woman. The point is that
Special.
it's special because you consistently come on, and hopefully we reach out to more female audience members that want to come on. But yeah, you hold it down, so you do a great job. So what's going on?
Got to break up the testosterone up in here, man.
Sure.
She probably feels like she's the wise one of the group.
Well,
She is.
I thought when I first saw it, you had the guy on from Philly.
Yes.
That was my first time seeing it. And he kind of irritated me. And I said, oh, okay, he letting these other folks be up on here. And I can go at it with them, right? So I just like, okay, I want to get on here. And I had told my kids, they was like, yeah. I said, yep, I'm going on there. I said, I know what I'm talking about. I taught y'all everything. So, I mean, my husband has been gone 15 years. He passed away 15 years ago.
Okay.
This July 5th coming. And he was the one that taught me everything about football.
Nice.
And so, and I stuck with it. You see some of these jerseys, these were his. So,
nice.
I think he would be proud of me. He would be shaking his head and say, oh my gosh, no, she don't do it. But I did it, and I'm glad I did.
Well, you got a bunch of brothers now. You know that, right? Literally.
Do that.
Yeah. So I was happy to see Jaden on the fans thing in New York.
Mhm, mhm.
and he looked like he was in La La Land with
Having a good time.
having a good time with Joe Montana
Mhm.
and what's his name from Philly? I mean from
Dan Marino.
Miami.
Dan
Dan
Marino.
Marino.
Yeah, Danny Green. And I know he always talked about that's who he followed. And I said, look at him. He's looking at them like, I can't believe I'm here. You know, he's like a big kid and look like he is just having a good time. And he's up there with Josh and they betting on his car,
card. Yeah.
you know, and that boy gave that boy. I said, "Dang, boy, I would love to have that car." You know, Josh paying $500,000 for the car. You know,
Stand up by Josh.
Yeah, and you know what's amazing, and I'm so glad you brought that up, Sheila, as far as him recognizing, Joe Montana and Dan Marino. My father told me a long time ago, and rest and soul to to rest in peace to my parents, both of them. My father used to tell me all the time, if you want to play basketball, which I did in college, and he was like, if you want to be a journalist, I've been wanting to do this since I was a kid. He was just like, you need to know the history of the people that came before you. And he was like, because you won't have an appreciation for it. You won't know the struggles. You won't know the successes. You just won't know anything. And I always find now covering young athletes, the young athletes that when you ask them questions about, I'm not going to say a person's name, but I remember years back, I asked a guy about Gary Clark, and it was the position he was currently playing for the Redskins at the time. And said he
right.
didn't know who that was. And I just,
Wow.
I just was taken aback a little bit, like, what? you know, didn't really know who that was. And I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt because ownership at the time, we all know what that was like. And, and some of the older guys, the veteran, superstars from their time, they didn't want to come around that. So I kind of was giving them the benefit of the doubt because maybe he never saw him physically, so he didn't know. But then I'm thinking, no, man, like as much as footage that goes around about, the posse and just,
Right.
everything that came with the lure of the Redskins. So I say all that because for Jaden to know who those guys were
Oh,
and
he
know
was a
their magnitude,
tell.
that's why he's great. That's one of the reasons why he's great, because he has something that he can,
Student at the game.
yeah, he can look at and say, I want to be like that. I want to borrow bits and pieces of all these legends' game and put it in my game. That's what all the greats do. I don't care on what sport. You ask anyone in the NBA who Michael Jordan is, they're going to know who that was. You ask anyone in baseball, I mean, it could be someone that you may not know, like a Sandy Koufax or something. If you're a pitcher, you're
Can I
gonna
add
know
something,
who
Lake?
that is if you're great. So that's a good point, Sheila. I appreciate that.
Now he got the audience in there. They were a little bit of everybody, but he had a lot of fans in there from the Commanders, and I just like everywhere he goes, everybody knows him. And one more thing he did. Did y'all see the thing he did on wellness?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I was
I
like,
didn't see that.
everybody's going after this boy to talk about everything, and
He's
he's
just
just
an astute guy, and
yeah.
Can
I
I
tell
add something,
people,
Lake?
yeah, absolutely.
Like pertaining to like I'm not surprised that he knows Dan Marino or Joe Montana. Like these are regarded as
The
Yeah.
greats.
top-notch
It's like
quarterbacks.
New York things they
Though Dan Marino didn't win a championship, like he's still up there
Still
with,
a legend.
like you said, like when we talk about quarterbacks,
yeah.
like he knows that. So like, and we have a quarterback who, and he probably aspires to to at least get one ring and to make a name for himself as a black quarterback, to surpass a lot of things. So
Yeah.
surprised. But speaking on Gary Clark, as myself as a Redskins Commanders fan, Washington football team fan, I need to do my own research because I'm unfamiliar with that. Well, with him, but like Dan Marino, I'm familiar with those guys, so I got to do my own research.
Well, but you know what though? In fairness to you, Jay, and I'm going to help your cause here. For one, you are younger.
Yeah.
This guy, I think you're what, 27?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he's younger. So we'll give you a break with that, in that regard. But the other thing is, you don't play for
Yeah.
the Commanders, and you're not
Yeah.
playing the position of one of these legends.
Yeah.
That to me was inexcusable, frankly. It's like
I
me
mean,
not knowing who Howard Cosell is. I mean, like, come on, man. I mean,
great
someone
card
said that to me, and I'm like, I don't know
Like
who's that. I mean, like, really?
not knowing who Stuart Scott is or something like
Yeah,
that.
of
Like,
course. Like
like what?
you have to know your craft. And I mean, I think,
Yeah.
for all of us, we all do different things,
yeah.
we have a reverend in here, we have an engineer in here, we have a musician in here, Oscar, I see your stuff over there and it's good, by the way. So we have so many different people, different personalities in here, but I think everybody knows their history of the team that they support. So I can only imagine if you play for the team and you don't know who certain guys are, shame on you. So, I'm not gonna put that person's name out there, but I wasn't the only person that was almost like, man, take the cameras and lights off this person right now. Let's go somewhere else in this locker room. All right, so you guys know what time it is.
Yes,
So
Oh, there it comes.
Yeah.
Hypothetical.
I tried to come up with something today that's a little bit it's easy, it's just an opinion based thing for each person. And what it was you can keep the young man if you want, or if there was someone else in the draft that you would have you think about hypothetically how he would have looked in Burgundy and Gold, you have an opportunity to switch. So the question is, you can keep Josh Connolly as your first round draft pick for this year, or was there someone else in this year's draft that you would have preferred the team look at as their first round draft pick? Very simple question. And everybody's thinking about it right now. I have a feeling I know where it's going to go, and I'll start it off. I'm saying keep the young man because what I saw with him with my own eyes for OTAs, for minicamp, rookie minicamp, he moves differently. And when you have a 4-time Pro Bowler on the other side of you, Laramie Tunsil, say he's super impressed. He said that was the first thing he said. You know who I'm impressed with? He said it was
Right.
Josh Connolly. The way he moves, everything, the way he retains stuff, that he's going to be special. So I'm saying keep it because I think, your biggest investment is number 5. And now you've got bookend tackles to protect them. That's brilliant for for Adam Peters and Dan Quinn to do that. So I'm keeping them. So we'll start in the other order here. So we'll start with Willis up first. What do you think?
It depends. Am I allowed to choose anybody from the draft, or
Yeah,
was
you
it
could. Yeah,
somebody
you
that
could.
was
You can.
eligible?
Yeah, you can choose anyone. It doesn't have to be who was sitting there when Washington
Okay,
picked.
then I'm going to go with Andre Carter. I mean, I think that. Yeah, I think
Abdul Carter.
Abdul. Sorry,
Yes,
I knew
yes,
that was
yes.
wrong.
Okay.
Abdul Carter, because I mean that would have taken care of our end situation completely, and we could have had Brandon filling in on the right hand side instead. I mean, and we have plenty of guard types that I think we could have adjusted really nicely. So yeah, I think
Okay.
that's the direction I would have gone. Although I mean, I can't wait to see what Connolly does. So I'm optimistic about him as well.
Okay, good stuff. All right, Sheila, you're back up.
I'm gonna have to be honest. I didn't know a lot of the people that they were gonna pick this year. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the kids and what schools they were from. I know that they announced them, but I didn't go and do any investigating on them or background check. So
Okay.
I like that they got him because he seems to be very happy, and all he keeps talking about is I'm here to win.
Yeah, he's a winner. He came from a winning program at Oregon.
Because
Yeah.
I'm here to win. That's what I'm here for. He's excited about being here. So I'm satisfied with him.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I like that. All right. Reverend Fry, you're up.
Nope. I'm on the Lake Lewis team, and I'm keeping Conley as well. I believe he is as advertised, and I keep hearing about this this edge rusher, but I again, I trust in Adam and Dan, and if they don't pick anybody, it's because they got a plan. If it's no more than Luvu coming off the edge or whatever, They have a plan. Believe me.
I'll tell you
They
guys what the plan is after everyone goes too, because I know the plan.
they are not. They are not. They are not naked.
No,
Believe that.
no,
Believe that they are not. These. I trust in everything that I've seen, and they have not missed. And now, granted, something is going to, but they know what's at stake. So
they're not coming. They're not coming to the party with no bullets. Trust me.
No, not
All
at
right.
all.
And I
Matter of
shouldn't.
fact,
I shouldn't have referenced it like that. They're not going to the battlefield without bullets. There we go.
yeah.
We don't want to mess anyone's parties up. We got enough of that going around. All right. So good stuff, Rev. Good
Yeah.
stuff. All right. So Oscar, you're up.
Thank you, Lake, for the new song appreciation. I was muted when you said that, so thanks a lot.
Oh no, it's good stuff. I've been checking them out on and everybody. You know, Oscar's a musician in over in Turkey, and you know, just really nice music. What would you classify your music as? Is it jazz or is it?
It's actually really hard, but I like to go folk music and jazz.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
It's a crazy mixture, I should say. But if everybody can follow, I would follow them back and would be happy to stay in touch.
Oh yeah, trust me, you guys won't be disappointed. Definitely, very easy listening too. So good stuff.
Thanks
All
a
right,
lot.
all right. So
I think I would stay with Connerly as well, even though I couldn't follow the draft so closely. As you know, last year's draft class was all about QBs, and like 2-3 years ago, it was wide receivers. If you remember, Chris Olave and Romeo Doubs draft.
Yeah.
So I think this year was more like an offensive line, defensive line draft, if we can say that. So I believe Connerly is going to be great.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. So, Willis, we've already gone with you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm just making sure here. Okay. So here we go. There we go. I got you guys. All right. Mike Barrett. What do you think?
I mean, and Adam, I trust. I'm good with the pick. Linemen aren't gonna be sexy picks,
I
right?
like that, Adam.
No, they're not.
So I mean, the trend, but and we've been pretty good with linemen. When we pick early, I don't know how successful we've been picking them this late, and we're not used to picking late, so it's unfamiliar territory. But if I had to swap it out, something explosive, that 1-2 punch that Ashton Genty. Although I'm hearing this guy's a sleeper that we picked up. We'll see. We will see.
They've got two sleepers in their backfield that I think are going to have a ripple effect.
Yeah, if it wasn't a Luther Burden, somebody explosive to give the kid another weapon, but giving him more time with his skill set, you see he elevates the level of the rest of the players on the field. So I'm good with the pick. I wouldn't trade.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Jay, you're up.
Okay, well, I ain't gonna lie. I definitely wanted a more flashy or more skill position player, you know. But I want to keep it realistic. My answer, I would definitely say, you know, if I had to choose a player, I would have maybe went like RB or something like that. One of those was a Travion or Junkins or Burden or something like that. But still, to this point, we haven't even seen the man game one against the Giants yet. Like, we haven't seen him in training camp. I'm gonna stick with him. You know, I hope he outperforms the right tackles that we had in the past, and then, you know, I hope he, you know, if they decide to move him to left tackle eventually down the line in his career, I just hope he shines. You know, because that's, you know, that helps shore up our O line, and, you know, many conversations that we had, we need to really value our quarterback, protecting the quarterback and the O line. You know, so I hope he shines.
Good stuff. And you know what Jay kind of showed there, I think, to some of us older heads in here, there is a difference, you know, mentality wise, as far as the older heads are going to say, shore up the trenches. That's just because we saw Super Bowls being won in Washington, you know, numerous, and they just beat you up on both sides of the ball in the trenches. You were done by halftime. And literally, How many times were we remember in the fourth quarter? You knew Riggins was going to get the ball. You knew he was probably going to have the ball. 40 touches, 40 rushes in the game. That's what he was getting. And you saw defenders by the fourth quarter, they did not want to come up and tackle him. So that's what, when we see them take, Adam Peters select a Josh Connerly, to me, it was like, yeah, he just looked up the road in Philadelphia. What did they just recently do? They mauled Kansas City in the trenches on both sides of the ball in the Super Bowl. So that's what that was. So all right, so let's go here. We got CV on here. What's going on, my friend? First time joining us. What do you think?
Yeah, okay. Just to introduce myself, my name is Shano, but you can call me Shino. But anyway,
there we go. All right, okay.
So I apologize for the little title there, just misquote.
It's all good. Yeah. It's all good.
So in regards to whether I would select someone different, no, I would not, because you can never have too many good linemen, as you mentioned. Trenches can make average players better by giving them more time, more protection. But what I don't want to see happen is we try to put him on the other side, right tackle, and then convert him when he's really a left tackle, because it's basically like wiping with your opposite hand. It's tough, and it takes some training, some time. And then if something happens as far as an injury, now we want him to move back to the other side. I don't want productivity to drop because he's confused on footwork and left side, right side, that type of thing. But I stick with him. He's definitely was a value pick, and he's going to be great.
All right, good stuff. Very astute answer there. Good stuff. All right, Greg Dashel, what's going on, my friend?
Not much, man. Hey, I'm happy with the pick personally. Josh Conley, like you said, the trench is built. The game is built from the inside out. But to be honest with you, I wanted Trey Amos, man, and we ended up getting him in the second round because I thought secondary was one of our weakest positions last year. And I was like, we got to get somebody that's a dog. And Trey Amos I thought he was first round pick. Just personally.
I did too. I had him as a first round grade myself.
Yeah, and so I wasn't even considered it because I thought actually Connolly might have been gone quicker because I knew they were gonna have a run on tackles, and I didn't even think he was gonna be there. But I'm happy with the pick, and we got my boy Amos. So yeah, I'm good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Ellison, what do you think?
Just like everybody said, for the most part, I'm happy with the pick. And Adam, we trust. I'm not gonna lie though. Going into the draft process, I was infatuated with Jalen Walker, who ended up going to Atlanta. To play on the edge as a pass rusher. I think they actually gonna move him to linebacker, which is crazy. But I did like him a lot, and I was hoping, if we had a chance to get him. But Conley's our guy, and I'm good with it.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. See, everybody's not jumping ship. Everyone's like, "Nah, we're good. We're good. We're good." So, all right, Dwayne, you're up. What do you think?
All right, so I first of all, I had my eyes on Malachi Starks.
Okay, who's with Baltimore now?
From Georgia.
I think you might be freezing up on us, Dwayne.
Yeah, but
okay.
Oh no.
His wife is pulling the plug.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you kind of free. Okay, go ahead.
I'm upstairs. I'm okay, good. So yeah, I was looking at Starks. Just because that back end, man, it's been a long time since we had a real enforcer and playmaker back there. So that's what I was looking at. But I'm happy with Connolly, man. I see a lot of young Trent in him.
Good
so
point.
I'm looking forward to seeing him grow. And Lake, I think I know where you're going too with that edge thing.
Okay.
I ain't gonna say nothing, but I think I know where you're going with that.
Okay. I'll say it in a few minutes. All right, Dave Fernandez, you're up. What's going on, my friend? All right, I think Dave, you're muted on. There we go.
There we go. What I wanted before the draft happened, my sets were high on Abdul Carter, of course, being a Penn State guy. But I knew that wasn't going to happen because, that was we were already so down low. I knew he was going to be gone. So I was looking at Donovan Azaraku from Boston.
Boston
But
College.
yeah, but being that we picked Connolly, I'm good with it, man, because one thing is we got to protect our investment. Right now, our investment right now is the future, which is JD5. Look what happened, with RG3 and everything. He didn't have that type of protection, and unfortunately, because he was running so much, he got hurt. We don't want that to be the case with JD5. And throughout the years, even throughout our bad years, I've noticed that if there was one thing that Washington always did good, was always drafting the tackle.
Yeah, they've had some really good tackles over the years.
We had some real good tackles, Trent Williams,
John Jansen,
from Alabama,
yeah,
Jansen,
Chris
the one from
Samuels,
Alabama,
yeah.
Chris Samuels. So we've had our share. So I'm thinking, I said, you know what? Let's keep the trend going. I'm happy with the pick, and I think this kid is going to be good. He's probably wind up being another Trent Williams. You never know.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Commander Kell, you're up.
Fold my arms. Call me Ron Rivera because we got a lot of position flex on the offensive line. That's one of his key words, position flex. I'm a ride
Did
with.
I see it? I gotta stop. I can't remember. I can't do those things. I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm a ride with. I'm a ride with Connolly. Definitely. And Adam, we trust. I think they're on their draft list board. They had like, if this person's available, we're going to pick them. I think an edge rusher was taken before Connolly, but either way, I think Connolly's going to be good. Even though on the Command Center podcast, he stated, Connolly, that is, that it's like no difference thus far between his college playing and what he experienced. And I'm like, it's still early. Like, you didn't do nothing. But I think Connolly's going to be good. But last thing I'm going to say is, like, this all season is it's a lot of stuff going on. I got like some highlights I didn't say in the interest of time, but it's a lot of stuff that's going on. But Connolly, I'm gonna ride with him.
Good stuff. All right, good stuff. And then finally, Brandon is up. So what's going on, Brandon?
I mean, when you got a guy that's been in the league for a while, when Tunsil's saying great things about a young rookie, and then he was giving us high praise, and I don't think he's a guy that's gonna blow sunshine of people's what.
Right.
So I kind of like the fact that he's praising him, and I think Cliff handed the paper to Dan. He's like, that's the guy I wanted, and I think they're building that lineup for that team up north, man. The Philadelphia Eagles. Those boys are big, and they gotta flex with them.
Yeah, and the other thing, good point, Brandon. The other thing that I think sometimes is getting lost in the fact that they took Connerly was that Brandon Coleman's a really good football player. But Brandon Coleman made his name at TCU as a guard. Yeah. And then in his final year, they converted him to tackle, and he played well. And last year, there were times where he showed that he could actually play tackle at a high level in the NFL. But I think that what Washington is that they're sticking true to their word. And I'll tell you guys this story that Dan Quinn told us the first day he was there. He told us in the media, the people who were out there, he said they're never going to put anyone in position to fail or put someone in a position to just be okay. He said, we don't do that. We want each guy to excel at the position that they're in and only do the things that they do great. He said, because that's going to give them the confidence and everything they need. I think they feel like Brandon Coleman is going to be great as a guard. And, and that's why they moved him back in there, because he would have been good as a tackle. But no, they're helping guys make money, and they're helping guys help their stock, So for them to move Brandon Coleman inside, and now you have Tyler at center, a healthy Tyler, Biadasz at center. I'm telling you right now, I'm predicting that Trent Scott is going to be your starting right guard. I truly believe that. I know Allegretti has a chance to, but I thought Trent filled in really well for Sam when Sam went out last year. Sam, to me, I don't see Sam playing. Maybe not. He might miss the year, in my opinion. but he's walking. I saw him out there recently. Look good. That's a whole different type of body size, coming off a knee injury like that. He's clearly not playing the first 8 weeks of the season. He's going to be on that PUP list. Make no mistake about that. And then you're going to have, when you bring him back, what do you have? 3 weeks to get ready. So that's week 11. So week 12, if he comes back in week 12, I'll just ask you guys this question. If they're, let's just say, in first place in the NFC East, or a game behind Philadelphia, or maybe even Dallas, whoever it is, do you bring Sam Cosmi back? Because now you're talking about disrupting something that's working.
No.
Do you bring him back? So I'll pose that question. You guys say no. I say you don't. I say give that man a chance to be fully ready for the 26th season, and he can come back as the mauler that we know he is. And now you're talking about a super upgrade to your offensive line. That's almost like drafting another first-round offensive lineman, in 2026 if you bring Sam Cosmi back then. So you guys say no on that, or you would bring him back?
Yeah.
No.
No.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I would bring him back if he's healthy, because you do want him to get some type of reps going in if he hasn't played all year. That's me. You want him to get touched up a little bit, get a feel for the game, being out, some months and haven't played, 9-10 weeks of the season. So I would say, just get him some reps. Doesn't mean he has to start, but at least if someone goes down or someone needs
what if there's no injury? What if Trenton Scott's playing well, or Allegretti collectively are filling in that spot, and doing well, or Brandon Coleman, because that's actually where he'll be. So you tell me, like, do you want to do that at the expense of one of those guys, or just wait it out?
I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
Let me ask this real quick. I ain't mean to cut you off, my man. Is he playing right guard or left guard? That's first.
Cosmi's right guard.
No, I mean Brandon Coleman. Is he playing right?
Brandon's left guard right now, but I could see him going over to right guard.
Okay, so if he's the left, who's on the right side? Is that Wiley? Is that Scott? Is that
it's Trenton Scott and Allegretti will be those will be the guys that you battle, because they're the veterans.
Okay. I mean, for me, I would like to get him some reps if he's ready to go. I understand people saying don't force the issue and everything's working, but to be out a whole complete year, I would like to get him some reps. That's just me personally, but I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I just and like I said, when I saw Sam, I told him he looked good, man. I mean, he was like, thanks. He was moving, he was in shorts. But you definitely saw a little bit of a hitch, and that tells you that he's still working, he's still rehabbing. And that rehab for a guy that size, I mean, that's a large dude. It's not like, one of these wide receivers or running backs who are a little smaller, more muscles in their legs because they're tinier. No, this is a different beast coming at you. And one thing I do know about this coaching staff and regime and all the trainers, they're so legit now. Like, they're not rushing anyone back if they're not ready. And I don't mean like, okay, you're 80%, we can get you on the field. No. You need to be 99.9% ready to come back and play football, because they want these guys playing at a high level. And that's something that we haven't seen here in a long time, as far as the proper, how many lower extremity injuries did we see on these teams over the years? Soft tissue injuries. We didn't hardly see any of that last year. Marshawn came to Washington with that injury already, and now he's back. So, yeah, good stuff.
Man. Are you giving us a hint without giving us a hint?
Yeah, I'm giving y'all a hint.
Okay.
And I will say this, another shameless plug, because we were talking about this earlier. I wrote a couple articles, and one of them's about Ben Sennett, and the fact that he looked good, man, in OTAs and camp. He looked really good. Route running was crisp. He was catching a lot of passes from Jaden, and a lot of deep passes too. So they were spreading them out. He was all over the field. I expect for him to have that second season that a lot of people were expecting for him to have in the first year. And then I just wrote today about Trey Amos and the fact that, they've got a really good cornerback room. And then if he plays to the level that I think he is, I think he's going to have the type of impact Mikey had last year as a rookie. Don't forget about Noah. I mean, they've got 5 corners, like 5 decent corners. A Pro Bowl corner, Marshawn Lattimore, that I think you're going to see him play Marshawn Lattimore football this year. So I say all these things not to toot my horn. I'm saying because these are the stories that are being written that I'm writing about that I think people should be looking at, not the clickbait stuff. The other story I wrote was about, like I said, the brotherhood, the culture. And I gave examples of that culture and how it's working and how, bringing in a guy like Bobby Wagner last year was big. Don't think a Jonathan Jones signing from New England or Dedrick Wise signing was just about what they do on the field. Those guys are coming from the New England Patriots championship team. So again, culture. They were so close to that championship last year. You need a sprinkle of some more guys to have one that they can walk around in the locker room and do this and tell you this is how close you are to getting that ring. So I just wanted to say that because I heard you guys today, a couple of you talking about that clickbait stuff that's out there, and I'm disgusted when I see that stuff myself. So you know where to come to get the real stuff.
It's all the clickbait stuff coming from the same place. I ain't gonna say the place's name, but it's coming from
it's a lot of places, and it is unfortunate. It's a dead period right now. This is where everybody's gone. Everyone goes on vacation. I just got back from Mexico. I mean, this is what happens at this time of year. But I have always said to young journalists who reach out, and ask for advice, I always have said, you make your name in the off season, not during the season. You make your name with fans in the off season. Hence, we're doing this right now. We've been doing this for months now in the off season. And I say that because you know who really is plugged in and who's not. And you can tell because when I wake up and I see that Terry's getting traded to the Chargers or he's getting traded to Pittsburgh, and I'm like, wow. You really published that. Like, you really put that out there? Like, really? No. That ain't happening, y'all. So let me just tell you that. And if it did happen, I would eat crow. I would be wrong for saying that. That ain't happening. So I'm comfortable saying that. Matter of fact, I said it last week. I'll say it again. My prediction is Terry will have his contract on the eve of training camp. Okay, so just as these days go and you don't see it happening, don't think it's not happening. I think Rev was talking about this earlier, that there's a plan in place, and it is. And the plan is all you have to do is go back and look at history. You can go back to last year. When did Sam Cosmi sign his contract?
During training camp.
It was the first day of training camp. So what happens is now is the time where they're still looking around to see if some guys get cut from a team. They're still trying to put together a team, that can still always compete. So that's all this is. They're not trying to get things done with Terry. I see so many things saying that they're so far apart. I just don't buy that. I just don't. I mean, and I'm not refuting the other reporters. But some of those reporters, and I'm gonna say this now, and I don't care how it's taken. A lot of people who say things and write things, I've never seen them out on that field a day in my life. I can say that. I've never seen them in the building a day of my life. And unless they know somebody that I don't, I kind of like the people that tell me what I know. So
ain't nobody talking now, man. That stuff over with, man. That's why
first of all,
some YouTubers trying to get
their 5 minutes of fame. I mean, just understand this too.
Yeah.
We all understand, if anything, that Adam Peters is pretty astute and pretty smart about how he's doing business. Do you think he would leak that he's going to trade someone like a Terry? Let's just say that was in play. Do you think he would tell anyone that? I mean,
it would go down just like Tunsil's did.
That's my whole point, and that's just common sense. You don't leak what is you're gonna do, and he knows better. One thing I do know about Adams, my guy, You don't think he understands the value of Terry, not just on the field, but to the community, to the fan base.
Thank you.
Terry's the one guy that's gone through hell and back. You don't not reward a player like that. You do. So of course they're gonna get this thing done.
And he was productive during them time.
Yeah, so I had somebody tell me the other day, "Oh, do you think that they brought Debo in just to replace Terry?" No. No. They brought Debo to pair with Terry. Jalen Lane, these young guys are going to be able to learn from two of the hardest working receivers in the league as a tandem. You don't make all these moves on the offensive line. You don't make all these moves to lose your best offensive player outside of Jaden. That's just silly. So stop that stuff if you're out there putting that clickbait stuff out there. Stop it.
The days of the Shanahan leaks are over.
Yeah, it is. And I'm comfortable talking with folks that know stuff. And oh, by the way, before we wrap up here, didn't I mention months ago about the uniforms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys remember that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't say a new uniform. What did I say? They're going back to the old uniform. This isn't breaking news. I mean, if you know, you know. And I've known that since December, for God's sakes, that they were going to do that. So, and I also mentioned to you as far as that logo. Did I not mention that too?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
I'm just trying to find out which of the old ones.
So the way it works is that normally you have to there's a time frame where you can put in for a uniform, okay? They can't officially have a new uniform until next year, okay? So what they're going to do is they're going to roll out these old uniforms. They're going to go back to that, but that's going to be their alternate uniform this year, okay? And then next year, it just will roll into being their uniform. All you got to do is look at the New York Giants. The New York Giants did this as well. They rolled out the old uniform for their alternates, and everyone loved it and wanted it back. Now it's their uniform. So that's all that's going to happen. And I was told last training camp from someone that I trust that the logo, the Indian logo, they were trying to see how the league would receive it, and obviously not the name. That was the big issue, was the name, not so much the logo. And from what I was told was the league is open to seeing what they can do with that logo, not as their official logo. The W is the logo. It's not going anywhere. But now maybe when you have your rivalry games and you have your good stuff, Willis, or when you have your alternate uniform, maybe the league might let them have the logo on an alternate uniform. So they're trying to bridge the past, man. They're trying to bring it back, and I think everyone's happy with that. So
like, are they planning to modernize the old uniform, or are they just going to bring it back as is?
I think it might have a couple, one or two things in there. I mean, but I think you're going to see basically what the Washington football team did. They took off the name Redskins off of their uniform and took the logo off. So now I always said, why didn't you just put the W on that helmet, keep everything the same? Listen, I'm an old head. I'm a traditionalist. I'm Penn State alum, so you already know how I roll. We don't want any changes to that uniform. It's just blue and white pants, no names, nothing on the helmet. That's how we like it. And I just always think that the traditional teams in the NFL, the older teams, when you look at Pittsburgh, when you look at Green Bay, now the Giants have it back. The Bears, they haven't changed anything. Green Bay, you don't change your uniform. And I think for Washington, I would have liked for them to have kept that. I know, maybe in the 90s or early 2000s, I was like, maybe they need to jazz this uniform up just a little bit. I am a big fan of the matte helmet now. I think that helmet is fire. I really do. But I said, how great would it look, that helmet, if they added 2 white stripes on the other side of the gold stripe? It would look nice. Or if you put white around the W, just to bring it out, pop it out. So I think that those might be the little small subtle things that they'll add when they bring back the old uniform. So hopefully that answered your question.
Hey, Lake, as far as the black uniform that they wear maybe a couple times a year, that's out?
I hope so.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
don't
a
like
I'm
it, Lake.
not
Man,
a
that
fan
black,
of it.
that black is
Oh,
cold, man.
I
What?
That black,
And
that black uniform
I'll
is
say
cold,
this.
bro.
I'll say
Dang.
this. I can live with the black if they want to keep it as an alternate. However,
Yeah.
I hate that little W in the middle of the helmet.
So
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
What if they
I
put?
don't like that.
What if they
But
put the
I
big
think
W
it's
on the
a.
yeah, if
side
they put the
instead of the
big
number?
W on the side and they decide they want to keep that, I'm okay with that. I
I
don't
think
have a
it's.
problem with that.
I
But
think that's an age gap thing, Lake.
yeah, it is.
Like
It clearly.
know,
I'm a traditionalist. Like I said, I
yeah.
just
Clean.
I mean,
It looks like the
it looks
Steelers.
good. It looks good
look
on Jaden.
on
I
there.
can say
That
that.
black is cold, man.
I mean,
Hey,
Jaden,
I
they
The
were winning
bands, it
games
look
in it
good.
though. I will
you
say
know
that.
That's
you know
Hail
what is the
Mary.
uniform I want, man? I want that burgundy top and that white bottom, bro. Nah, man, come on.
I'm not a fan of
Always
that.
cool,
I
man.
always
When I
said if
used to
you bring the gold, make sure you got the gold pants, man. I've
I,
no,
always said
No, no.
that.
I just need them to
I don't know,
update
man.
the white
I feel
road
like
jersey,
we
man.
look like a bottle of mustard, bro.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
I did say this since you have, if let's just say they were to keep the current uniform set. I've always said I would have liked to have seen them, mix it up a little bit, like maybe have, I don't want this because it would look like the Steelers, but I'm saying like maybe
yellow
you would have,
pants.
the black pants with the burgundy helmet, and a white jersey. I mean, just something
Yeah.
different. Mix it up and see how it looks, or the burgundy jersey with the black pants and a burgundy hat or a black hat or something. But you got to get rid of that little W in the middle. I don't care what they do,
Yeah,
just get rid
no.
of that.
I like it.
Look like a
I like
bat
it.
up there. Look like a little baby bat up there on the
I
helmet.
just like the black uniform. So,
Call him Batman.
Yeah.
I have a question, Lake.
Yeah. So who? Yeah. Fire away.
So you gave us a homework assignment last week. Sounds like we're not going to cover that this week.
what was that?
Oh, that's right.
Another
I did
hypothetical.
give you that hypothetical, and see, I like that. You were
What
ready
was
for
it?
that, Cal. You were ready for that, huh?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, go give me your answer then, and we'll see if everybody can remember. Go ahead, give me your answer.
All right. So as far as a tackler, actually, Brad Edwards.
What was the question?
So
Yeah,
the question was that you get a chance to have. So we switched last week. We covered offense. So then we said this week I gave you the homework assignment to come up with defense, where you could have. It was a tackle. I mean, it was a defensive lineman. It was a corner, and
O lineman.
an O lineman.
Like
You had.
where your glasses at?
You said, where are my glasses?
Where your glasses at?
Oh, you want me to put my glasses on? Why you
Yeah,
want me to put my glasses on?
I mess with you. I mess with you.
Okay.
what I recall, Lake, was there a rusher, so a running back, offensive lineman, and then someone who can tackle on the defensive
Yeah.
end. You didn't say
Yeah.
it was the lineman, but just defensive tackler.
Defensive
Yeah.
tackler, right?
'Cause that's what I have.
Okay.
Right.
So
But
I think-
remember, I said, as much as we loved Sean Taylor, and rest in peace, but
Yeah.
we didn't think Sean Taylor was going up against Joe Jacoby, so we were just trying to keep it sensible in that regard. So what did you have, Cal?
Honestly, I don't have anything in front of me. Like I
Okay.
didn't bring anything.
I think we all
Sorry.
see that.
Okay.
I
And
I've been thinking
Ellison
about it.
had it. Yeah, Ellison. So what did you have then, Ellison?
I had Jacoby. I actually didn't go Dexter, but I went Charles Mann. As far as tackling or corner or something like that, I went all the way back to Kenny Houston back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's a good
Wow.
one.
That's
Oh.
good.
Solid.
That's great, actually.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
Does anyone have anyone they want to throw out there?
So as far as a tackler, solo tackles, I have to go with Brad Edwards coming out of safety.
Ooh.
8 solos a game, hard hitter.
Mhm.
As far as a rusher, got to go with my boy Portis. 81 yards a game.
Okay.
And offensive lineman, got to go with one of the Hogs, so I'll go with Grimm.
Okay. That's not bad. Anyone else want to take a stab at it?
I'll take a
As for
stab
me,
at it.
Okay. What you got,
I'm
Dwayne?
sorry, Miss Sheila.
Go ahead, Rev.
Go ahead, ma'am.
All right, so I got so as far as a tackler, I got Reed Dowdy. No, I'm just playing. Um, As far as a
What's that?
tackler, I got London. As far as a lineman, I'm gonna go Chris Samuels.
Okay.
And then as far as a rusher, I'm 37. So I remember prime Stephen Davis.
Oh wow, Stephen Davis was a really good back.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Big and fast too. You
I'm gonna go
know,
Stephen Davis.
that's it's funny you say that because I was telling someone I had made a comment months ago that I thought, excuse me, that I thought Derrick Henry was John Riggins of this era. Stephen Davis wasn't too far away from that. Like when you really remember him, Stephen Davis was big and fast.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was as
Yeah.
physical as John Riggins or Derrick Henry,
Okay.
but he got slept on, and I think it was
He
because of
definitely did.
the situation that he was part of here. Just wasn't conducive for him. If he had played with a really great wide receiver, man, that could have been that he could have been something. So good stuff there, Dwayne. That's not bad. Anybody else got one?
Yeah. I say pull out the diesel because
Yeah.
definitely Riggins, and you know my mentality. I want to punish you.
Mhm.
If you're gonna get in my way, I want to punish you. So definitely Rigo.
In the name of Jesus.
Joe Jacoby as far as my lineman. But on the other side, let's put the captain out there himself, London Fletcher.
Nice. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else got something?
Well, I'm gonna go with Riggins.
Okay.
That was one of my favorite players.
Okay.
Sound like sometimes when we get the touchdowns now are they pulling that diesel sound? Because it sounds like it in the stadium.
I think it's the Metro from the Metro.
No way.
No.
If you guys remember, Chief Z used to do it with his mouth.
Yeah, he did.
And I go with Dexter Manley.
That's a good
Okay, Dexter Manley. That's not bad. The more I think about this, though, we probably could have added Sean Taylor on here because he was big and he was fearless, and he probably would have come up and moved an offensive lineman out the way to make the tackle. So if you want to put him on there, you absolutely can. For me, I would have gone Riggins as my back, Grimm as my. Because Riggins wasn't really running too much to the outside. I know he did against Miami in the Super Bowl, but he was coming up, that A gap, and it was Russ Grimm territory. So, and then on defense, man, it's been a lot of them, but I'm gonna go somebody way back that a lot of you guys may not remember. Some of you should know who I'm gonna go, and I always talk about him because I think he's one of the best players this organization ever had that no one talks about. But I'm going to go Chris Hamburger.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you are a 7-time All-Pro, not Pro Bowler, All-Pro as a middle linebacker, I mean, you're doing something. So, yeah. Anybody?
I must have called that man Hamburger for about 10 years.
I think everybody did. I think everyone did. So, anybody else? Mike Barrett, Oscar, any Jay, anybody want to take a stab at it?
I think I would go with Rigo as well.
Yep.
I'm gonna pick Joe Jacoby as my offensive lineman.
Nice.
And I think I'm gonna choose LeVar Arrington for the tackler.
Nice.
Yep. LeVar would stick you now.
Yeah, he would. He absolutely would.
Oh, yeah.
So guess what? I was saving this one. This is you guys didn't think I was gonna let you get off here today without giving you another assignment. This one's a good one though. We want to know, in your opinion, the best special teamer ever for this team. And it doesn't have to be just a punt returner or a kickoff returner. It could be B. Mitch. It could be, it could be Mike Nelms. I mean, but we're talking about special teams in general. Tress Way, Mark Mosley, the last MVP of that was a specialist, So We're gonna throw that out there. You don't have to tell me now. You got all week. You got a full week to think about it. But yeah, so we're talking about the best special teams player in the history of this organization. Oh, by the way, you do know Sammy Baugh used to be a Pro Bowl All-Pro punter for as well. So
and a defensive player.
and a defensive player and a great quarterback, singing Sammy. So now you guys got your homework cut out. You got a couple of people that you can that you can possibly go with this. This one's a good one. So
hey, Brother Lake, you have a suggestion in the chat. Oscar, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
That's perfect, man.
Can he have a hypothetical for next week? So he proposed the new stadium name, 2 choices.
Nice.
I wouldn't want to get ahead of you, like, no disrespect, Lake, but
oh no, I already have an answer for you right now. We should just call it the Please Get Done Stadium.
Exactly. In DC.
You're right. Please Get Done in DC. That's the name of it. Stadium. So yeah, we need that for sure.
Hey, Lake.
Yes,
Lake.
sir. Yes, sir.
I don't think you're getting out of here without sharing with us that defensive plan too.
Oh, okay. So let me tell you, it's very simple. Because everyone keeps saying they don't have an edge rusher. They don't have an edge rusher. No, but you know what they have? They have edge establishers.
Yeah.
They have Dedrick Wise, Jacob Martin, Javon Kinlaw. All of these guys are big physical guys that will hold you up on the edges. And last year it wasn't the pass rush that did Washington, and it was the lack of stopping the run. So now you got, Eddie Goldman as well. You have all these guys that are going to come in and blend in with what they already have. Dorrance Armstrong, had 8 sacks last year, played well. Cleveland Farrell, he's when healthy, he's a guy that will be able to, he could get 6-7 sacks. I mean, they have potential to be able to get to the quarterback, but more importantly, that defensive plan. If you go back to Dan Quinn's days in Dallas, and you remember Joe Witt came from Dallas, they had secondary guys that blitzed. They had Mikey Samerstill, when he was in Michigan, was an expert at blitzing. They didn't get a chance to do that last year. So now you've got corners that are going to be able to cover guys for longer than 2 seconds. Which will allow for your defensive lineman to cause a little bit more, pressure.
And McGee could blitz coming out of Temple at
absolutely Jordan McGee and Dominique Hampton. Remember those names? Kay Madrano, who they just took from UCLA. These are speed linebackers. And then Frankie, they're going to use him in that kind of micro role now.
Yeah.
All right. And then finally, the other thing that I think people have to remember when it comes to this defense is when you look at the back end, Quan Martin really played well at free safety last year. He really did. Well, Will Harris is a guy that people are going to have to watch. That was a good signing for them. I actually think, me personally, that he's an upgrade over Jeremy Chin. I truly believe that because he's more versatile and he can cover. Jeremy was a hitter, but he couldn't cover. So now you have a safety that is a hybrid safety that they can put in the box. They can put a free safety. They can put a strong safety. He's even played some corner at times. I mean, so he can do a lot of different things. So I think they just have a more versatile defense this year that should be able to, cover ground. And the other thing that I do know for a fact, they're not worried so much about having an edge rusher that's going to get you 15, 16 sacks, because if you think of 2 of the quarterbacks that they're going to play in their division this year, Jalen Hurts, Russell Wilson, they're not classic drop back quarterbacks. They're guys that do what? They will break your defense down and take off on you. Hence why they went out and got those defensive linemen. So, bam. Hopefully that helped you give you your defensive strategy this year.
Like, before we head out, can I make one comment?
Yes, sir.
First off, appreciate you guys having me. Made my day. Love speaking with family. But I'm also a music buff, not as big as Oscar, but I wanted to say that this group, when being that Sheila's always holding it down, reminds me of one of my favorite bands, Rolls Royce.
Oh man, timeless group. I remember my parents playing Rolls Royce all the time.
Yes, sure.
Very nice, very nice. And I also remember
Thank
car
you.
wash too. Remember?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Mhm.
Good stuff. Well, listen, I kept y'all long today. This almost 6:30, so I apologize, for keeping y'all this long, but time flies when you're having fun, right?
We want to be here though. That's the
Uh,
thing. We want to be here. So
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So yeah, we're gonna
Imagine the discipline we're gonna have when the season starts.
yeah, I'm gonna be doing this for many a hotel on the road doing this, but yeah, we're still gonna do this. And again, like I said, I just it was my better half that came up with this whole idea. She said, you love your fans and they love you, so why don't you guys just get together and do something like this? And I was like, I don't know if anybody would want to do that. Well, we see that this is growing.
Little did you know.
Yeah, and this community is growing, and now it's going to be fun because I've had some of the players tell me that they want to come on, when they're able to after training camp. They're going to be popping up in here as well, so we'll have a lot of fun and get check their pulse as far as what happens. So I think what we might have to do though, so Mondays and Tuesdays are like our days off. So we might have to switch this to a Monday during the season. So we could do that, and then that way it's guaranteed to go over what happened on that game, and then we kind of could even do an early breakdown of what's coming up during the week, because we're going to be playing on Thursday, we're going to be playing on Sunday night, we're going to be playing on Monday, playing overseas. It's going to be a lot of that. So yeah.
When does the Hard Knocks start?
In December. It'll be in December. Yeah. So they'll already have film and all that stuff. So hopefully, they catch your boy in a couple angles,
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, look, you guys, and Sheila, of course, I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day, spend a couple hours with me. And remember your homework assignment. You got one, and we'll talk about the greatest special teams player ever wear Burgundy and Gold. We'll talk about that on next week's show. So everybody have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Stay hydrated in that heat wherever you are. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, Lake.
All right. You guys take care now.
Wait.
All right. Take care.
Bye.